Welcome into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Today on the show, just the start that Ronnie needed for the month of August. Falcons released their first unofficial depth chart in preparation for Friday's game up in Detroit, first preseason game, and thoughts on the first coaches poll in college football that has been released. All of that next. It's Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
We welcome you into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Ask you to head to youtube.com. When you get there, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you find our page, hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment there. And, of course, we are free and available on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Leave us a 5-star review there. And, of course, follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Good win for the Atlanta Braves last night. Much needed as they took on the Red Sox up in Boston. This quick 2-game set, right? So chance to take both games here tonight. You still okay with Marcell Ozuna in the lineup? Sorry, don't worry about it. I told you. Is second base still good to go? We don't have to worry about that. Sorry, I told you about that too. That's all right. So we won't get into all that. We've already covered all that ground, and we know I was right now. But anyway, listen, it's exactly the start to the month of August that Ronald Acuna needed, right? So far in the month of August, in these 8-game set, Ronnie is hitting 400 with a 471 on-base percentage, a 567 slugging, which comes out to a 1.037 OPS. A homer, 5 RBI, 4 walks, couple of stolen bases. Most importantly, when you talk about Ronnie and what he does for this offense, 7 runs scored in those 8 games. Look, we've talked about this previously, and I said this last week. The Braves aren't winning the World Series this year without Ronald Acuna, okay? You caught lightning in a bottle, and everything worked out, and you had Freddie and everything else. You caught lightning in a bottle. You're not doing that again this year, okay? Lightning doesn't strike twice out there. You're not going to win the World Series this year without Ronnie healthy, playing well, and contributing to this team. And this is exactly what the Braves needed. This shot in the arm from him offensively is what this ball club needs, right? You know, I've talked before, years ago, about the idea about where does Ronnie ideally profile in this lineup? You know, and I understand everything that he brings to the lineup at the top of the order. I always thought that he was more of a middle of the order hitter, like a 3-4 hitter, because he's such a good run producer. He can do so many things with the bat. But I will give him all the credit in the world. He has really adapted over these last few years to what the role of a leadoff hitter is. And there is a role for what a leadoff hitter is supposed to be. It is to get on base and to run around the bases. And you saw last night, scored from first on a ball hit to the wall, right? That's what Ronnie does. Somebody talking to me about Ozuna, if it's on my radio show or here or whatever like that, made the comment of, well, Ronnie's been struggling and he's not hitting as well. There's a massive difference, though. You saw last night on a ball hit the wall. That's what Ronnie can do. Ronnie can get on base via the walk. Ronnie can steal a base and stand on second and be in scoring position. Or Ronnie can take off from first and he can score on a double. Ozuna can't do all those things. Oh, yeah. Did I mention that Ronnie's also an excellent right fielder? Okay, you can't play Ozuna in left field every day, right? So the idea of what Ronnie's been doing with the bat and discounting all of the other things that he brings to this team, his ability to get on base, his ability to play an excellent right field every night for you, his ability to score from anywhere on the base paths, his ability to go first to third on a single, score on a ball hit to the wall, steal bases when you need to get yourself in scoring position. Man on first, 2 outs, Ronnie can steal a base and be on second base where a single drives him in. There are so many little nuances about Ronnie, what he provides. I've said before, said it right here on this show, he is the straw that stirs the drink, to use an old Yankee slogan. He is the key cog in their lineup. If he gets rolling, the Braves will get rolling. And, there's an old saying about how things filter downward from the top. Well, that's Ronnie. He gets going at the top of that order. Things will filter down into Dansby and Riley and Olsen and hell, probably even Ozuna, Contreras, whoever. So this is exactly the shot in the arm that the Braves have needed. Now, we'll talk more about this in just a second, but want to talk about my friends over at betonline.net, your fastest, easiest way to check in on all of your betting needs. Hey, man, football season is here. Friday, the Falcons get cranked up and going for preseason. Before you know it, we're going to look up. We're going to be in regular season football. Baseball is cranked up. We're headed into pennant races right now. Everything you need is at betonline.net. Easy to use on your mobile device. It's all your source for all of your betting needs, your podcast information, scores, updates, combat sports, esports, golf, everything that you want. You want to bet on MMA and boxing? That's available to you. Want to bet on golf? You want to see who's in live right now and who's not in live? Bet on some of these tournaments. All of that is available to you at betonline.net. So use your mobile device. It's the quickest, easiest way to get all of your sports wagering information. Head over to betonline.net today. It's where the game starts. So, look, the Braves obviously have a lot of important games coming up with the Mets, among others and things like that. Look, you still, I think Philadelphia is going to be a thorn in the Braves' side and stuff like that, just because Philly still thinks they're a playoff team and this, that, and the other. So you have obviously a ton of important games, and you're trying to get back into this pennant race, right? Having Ronnie's bat getting things cranked up and going is the dynamic that will change up this lineup. And look, when Ronnie talked about last week, the idea of there are times when I don't trust my body and this, that, and the other, I said, look, Ronnie doesn't have to be good for 4 months, okay? At this stage of the game, with less than a third of the season to go, Ronnie doesn't have to be good for 3 or 4 months. I need Ronnie to be good for 6 to 7 weeks is what I need Ronnie to be good for. And this start in August, where he's hitting the ball, he's getting on base, I want to see him getting back to going the other way, right? If he can get those things cranked up, and you see, look, even in only 8 games in August, he's got 7 runs scored. You tell me a guy is going to average basically a run per game that he plays? Well, over 162 game season, that's 162 runs. Tell me what guy you wouldn't want on your team that scores 162 runs. And a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark and do all the things that he can do. So, again, when people say, oh, well, Ronnie's been so... Yeah, but Ronnie can do 9 other things that few guys in the game can do, right? You saw the play last night. That's what Ronnie can do. He creates havoc on the base paths. He puts tons of pressure on the other team's defense. He puts tons of pressure on the other team's pitcher just by simply getting and standing on first base. I'm not saying he's Ricky Henderson-like, but he has that ability to change up the dynamic of a game. So his start in August is huge in the fact that this team trying to make up games and catch the Mets and get some things cranked up and going. This is all good signs for the Atlanta Braves right now. And we've talked before about, say what you will about the power hitters through the middle of their lineup. There's a lot of ways, there's a lot of interchangeability among some of those guys, right? And the Braves, they're not a small ball team. They are sit back and hit the 3-run homer. But Ronnie's a guy who allows them to play some small ball. Because if he gets on first, and if you hit a double to the wall, he'll be home. He'll be standing at home plate. If you're on first base and you hit a single to right field, he can be at third base with less than 2 outs, and you can drive him in on a sacrifice fly. All of those little dynamics that Ronnie provides to this offense. It's so good to see him getting things going in August. Let's hope that he keeps this run up for a while and he can keep things cranked up and going. All right, when we come back, the Falcons release their first unofficial depth chart ahead of Friday's game against the Detroit Lions. We'll talk about that next on Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.